Okay, so the first yapping session of the day. Where the heck do I begin to explain this? I mean, for starters, I could give you some context. I'm a Brazilian American. I was born and raised to a Brazilian parents. However, they've been living here in the United States for over 30 years now. They're huge like Trump and like Republican supporters and stuff. They are very good Christian conservative people. So that's something. And just so you know, like I agree with them personally because I feel like if I were like raised in this certain way, it's going to be extremely hard to convince me otherwise. And besides, there's a lot of signs that they're right. There's a lot of defenses to prove Christianity correct. And some other stuff. I could show you a few channels I use to defend Christianity later. But for now, it's time to get to like the main point of this video. So if you don't know, Brazil politically right now, there is a huge amount of drama. And surprisingly, I actually support Donald Trump trying to tariff Brazil, my own people. And this is because Lula, we don't believe that he got the election clean. I'll explain some stuff later to make this make sense. But I asked my mom today, do we have evidence that Jair Bolsonaro should have rightfully won the election? And she said yes, there were two brothers who were investigators, and they found a lot of evidence to support our claim. But the problem is she forgot where she found the video. This whole thing happened like probably 3 years ago by now. And even if we could find the videos, they're in Brazilian Portuguese. So without complete translation, they might not work. Okay, so back to the thing. As I've completely said earlier, my entire life I've been growing up in this thing. Now, at first, when I was growing up, the presidents weren't that good in Brazil. The evil Lula, or the current president right now, Lula, he was first the 35th Brazilian president from 2003 to 2010. His last month of his presidency was the month I was born, and then he was probably going to jail and stuff. Then his vice president, I believe, or someone connected to Lula, the first female president, who's called Dilma Rousseff, or that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled D-I-L-M-A, Dilma Rousseff, or R-O-U-S-E-F-F is her last name. But yeah. Now, I think initially she was popular with the people, but she obviously got impeached in 2016. So this other guy was probably her vice president, Michel Temer, took over for 2 years, and then came the good election. Jair Bolsonaro won against his fellow opponent, and he became what my family called the first good Brazilian president in a long time. Now, I think one of my family members said, he's not the best, but he's way better than all the other presidents who were like against Christianity or something. I don't remember. That's just a faint memory I have. I guess those 3 years for Brazil were really good and it was justified. However, I feel like God is personally testing Brazilians because in the year 2022, like in late 2022, right before the World Cup, I kind of got it on a film on my main channel, but my stupid self couldn't even get the words because I had to put background music over the TV that I was like filming and stuff. But anyways, back to what was happening. Lula was eventually said to be the new president-elect because he allegedly won the election against Bolsonaro. But we know for a fact that this is not true. Like, he rigged the election. There's a lot of people who would agree with me, especially Brazilians who live around here where I live in the northeast of the United States. And probably a lot of Brazilian friends that my mom has. So we're a huge group, like over 200 million Brazilians alone. And yeah, Bolsonaro, he's currently being tested like Job was in the book of Job and stuff. Now, the personal thing I have against one of my teachers, that he's really good and he teaches a good subject because I like history. The problem with him is he is a supporter of secularism, and what he shouldn't be telling me is that Lula's the right guy. Can you imagine? All your entire life, you've been made to think that Lula's the antagonist. Of course you're not going to believe him. And I still don't believe him, because I don't believe in secularism and all that stuff. And so basically, he's just trying to say, oh, ha ha ha, you're automatically wrong. It's because you're Brazilian, it's because you're autistic, it's because you're right wing. Where's your proof? I mean, even if he doesn't mean it like that, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't, he did sound extremely arrogant, or at least to me. Now, I'm not a good guy to filter my words. I'm extremely unfiltered. So yeah, in my school, which is pretty secularist, to be honest, I'm probably the most right-wing student in there. And yeah, I get into theology and like being a good Christian. I've heard that Jesus should not be politicized. And while you're technically right, I could argue that the Republican Party, or like right-wing people, are more likely to be Christian because of their religious and Christian values. And no, I don't believe in separation of church and state. God made the world, and if it has Christian values, or a country has him, that will make the country run really good and good enough. So, yeah, I got really upset. I couldn't initially find evidence to prove my claim. And this, I think I have a theory. Because I've heard that the evil Lula and his people who like support him and stuff, they try to like rig websites too. Talk about Brazilian information. Like when Bolsonaro, I've heard, did so many like things in his presidency, so many rallies, I don't know how to say, like they like organized several like parties and stuff, I don't know, and events, and so many people join. But then Lula makes the number like underestimated severely on purpose. And then when Lula and his new wife, Rosângela de Silva, they want to do something, no one shows up unless they're bribed. Now, while my teacher was trying to make the claim that, oh, they were bribed with sandwiches to come out for the election, isn't that just a basic human right being given to them and being kind? Well, think about this, because I am getting caught off way too often. Teacher, you know who you are. If there was a government that promoted murder and clear dystopia, offering you a sandwich to support that, would you do that? Would you take that bribe? Like, you might not even see it as a bribe because they're just giving out water and free sandwiches and food and stuff. But come on, if you were offered to support something horrible for basic necessities guaranteed, would you take it? Assuming you had to live, you could cheat the bribe, but would you genuinely accept it? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I really don't get it. If you are a Christian, good job. But my family are the people, the group of people that were born and raised in Brazil, and they experienced these sort of stuff. Like, an expert will never know how bad it is to live in Gaza right now compared to someone who suffered in Gaza. And no, despite being a pro-conservative, I don't support the genocide. I'm neutral to them both. They should both be benefited somehow and compensated severely for this war. But yeah, the thing goes, I'm living in a too secularist world. I'm gonna say my other stuff later, but for now, it's almost Merry Christmas. There's less than 10 days before Christmas happens, so Merry Christmas. Unless you're already married. That's like the very least I can do after bothering myself and maybe you.